All right, guys, going to give you a quick little update on what went wrong. What went wrong with the fishing lately. If you follow me here on YouTube or on Facebook or on Instagram, and by the way, on Instagram, I've got a new name on there. It's Dieter Melhorn Fishing. So go over to it. That's where all the fishing content's going to be. If you follow me, especially in the shorts on YouTube, I was talking about the rise in water that we've had due to some heavy rains here on the reservoir that I fish. If you look over my shoulder, you'll see a bunch of muddy water. You may even see that rod bent over there. I am fishing. That's not a fish. It's snagged up on the bottom. We've had a lot of rain, about 3 inches. It drove the lake up to full pond. It's all the way max filled up. Ton of muddy water, ton of debris. And in some of the shorts I talked about, I was excited to go fishing. I went out a few days ago and had a bunch of guide trips coming up. And anytime you get an inflow of water, it can lead to a good bite. It can spark some good fishing. There's a lot of reasons that lead to that. One, it's just the activity of moving bait around, maybe busting up bait schools, washing in stuff through the dams. There's just a lot of dynamics that come into play. I was hoping we were going to get on some good fish. I went to a riverine section initially the day after the rains quit, fished it. It was disappointing. I caught some fish, few, I think about 4 fish, but nowhere near what I was expecting. There was not the explosive bite. Now, I chalked that up to, well, there wasn't a lot of water moving. There was a dynamic that was happening in this reservoir to where there was so much inflow across the entire reservoir that it was stifling how much water was actually moving in the river section. It was almost like it was backing up, clogging up. It's almost like a drain clogging up because there's a clog, water's not moving through. It really doesn't flow that fast. So the next day, go out on a guide trip, decide to run to the other end of the lake where I knew there was clear water and thought maybe that would work. We covered a lot of water. We burned a lot of gas and we fished, trolled in all this water, all these depths. And again, very frustrating fishing. I think we caught again 4 fish, maybe one that was double digits, 10, 11 pounds, but not the kind of fish that we're looking for. Now, granted, might be a little bit spoiled, okay? We got a little bit spoiled a few weeks ago. We're plucking a lot of fish out of here that were in the teens and the 20s, and if you follow the channel, go back a couple of videos and you've seen me catch my biggest fish of the year. So there's been some good fishing. To a certain extent, we've been chasing ghosts. I will say that. When you have that kind of stuff happen, you end up really digging to catch more of those fish. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. But I say all that to say we were expecting more on that trip. Next day on a guide trip, and decided to do some anchoring mid-lake and tried anchoring on points, tried anchoring shallow in the backs of creeks, tried deep water anchoring similar to what I'm doing now, just not on fire. Again, I think 4 fish and nothing. I think there was one that was around 14 pounds. Just not a lot of great catching. Now it is winter, okay? And in the wintertime, with these colder temperatures, and we're going to get into some of the reasons I think some of this happened in a minute, but with the colder temperatures, the bite slows down. That does happen. I mean, 5, 6, 7, 8 fish is kind of a normal catch rate in the winter. But this early, you would expect it to be a little bit better. There are some reasons I think it's happening. I'll go over a couple of them. And one of them is the moon. We're in the full moon phase. I think that was day before yesterday, maybe yesterday. We've got a very bright moon. That could lead to possibly some heavy feeding at night. That, or at least maybe that's their feed cycle. Now, granted, our water temperatures are into the 50s. We're going to go more into water temperature in a second because there's something significant there. But metabolism does slow down. I mean, fish do slow down. They are not eating as much. Now, granted, 50-some degree water is not exactly frigid for blue catfish. A little more of a slowdown, especially here, a significant slowdown for flathead catfish. And channel cat bite does start to wane some too. The biggest thing with that temperature is that last week it was in the 58 degree range. We had some warmer days, some overnight temperatures were not that cold, and we had some upper 50 water temperatures, which is pretty nice for December. I mean, that's a great water temperature. You can catch, you'll You can still get into some flatheads in those temperatures, not a lot, but definitely good for a blue catfish bite. Our temperatures now, after this rain, this muddy water, cold rain, it's down to 52 degrees. So that's a 6-degree temperature drop. That may be the other thing that is coming into play with what is going on with the bite not being as good as I hoped it would be. You know, does the debris matter? I don't know. There's debris all in the lake. I'm sure the influx of pine needles, leaves, sticks, and everything else has an effect on the pH in the water, and that may affect the fish. It may slow them down. I don't really know. Does the color affect anything? Not really. I've caught some tremendous great fish in muddy, stained water. Now for us, it's a big shift from what we had. It's 180 degrees from what we had. You guys that fish the major rivers, they're never really clean. They're never really clear water. You've always got some level of stained water. Here, we have pretty clear water for what we have in this lake. You're not looking at the bottom in 20 feet of water, but it's relatively clear. Now, this is very, very big change. It's got, and it's from dam to dam at this point. It starts out in ours. It will start in the upper rivers. You'll start to see it get muddy. But by now, it's from one end of the lake to the other. It's covered. They're moving a lot of water, a lot of current. Bait's broken up. That's one thing I've noticed riding around, is that they're what appears to be gizzard shad, none of them together. They're all scattered and strewn out everywhere. Maybe that's a combination of it. I don't know. The bottom line is this: if you're fishing in these conditions anywhere, facing this kind of stuff, you're not alone. It's normal. This is what happens. And the other thing is, I'm still out here in it, even after my guide trip, trying to find some fish, trying to see if I can get one of these rods to fold over, because I got the chance to fish. And it goes back to what I've said 100 times, is you fish when you can. It's not always perfect conditions, but you're never going to know if it is perfect conditions unless you're out there trying to guess it, time it, figure it out. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't. I thought I was going to get it right this time. I thought with this inflow, I was excited that I thought this bite was going to turn on, at least for a couple days. My big concern is that typically, you know, this lake has went to full pond. There's no more water will fit in it without flooding. They're going to start dropping this, or they're already trying to start dropping it. This lake's going to go back down 3 feet. I'm curious just how much worse this bite can get as that happens, because typically that falling water really shuts a bite down. So, and that's going to happen slowly over the next several days. So stay tuned. I'll keep you updated on that one. I'll also have a video out that will kind of culminate all these days out here fishing, talk about some stuff maybe a little bit more in detail, and kind of chronicle some of that as it goes. So be sure to hit the subscribe button. Would love for you to see more of these videos when they come out. We'll catch you on the water.